Right, here we are to evaluate this integral using Simpson's rule, right? This rule there I got from the back of the exam paper, and the first thing we're going to figure out is B. B is the strip width, right? So B is going to be 5, the upper limit minus the lower limit, 5 minus 3, all divided by the number of intervals, which is 8. So that comes out with 2 divided by 8. We get 0.25 for our strip width, 0.25. So first let's line up our x values, and our first x value will be the lower limit, so that's going to be 3. The next x value will be the lower limit plus 3. It's going to be 3.25, be the previous limit plus a quarter. The next limit then, the next x value is going to be 3.5. Next is going to be 3.75. Then we're going to have 4, 4.25, 4.5, 4.75, and 5. Right, now I'm just going to draw a wee line here. We're going to work out a y value for each of these x values. So this 3 here, this value 3, that'll correspond, that's going to give us a value, that's going to give us y0, right? So we're going to figure out y0 by plugging in 3 into our function, right? So y, in this case, y0 will equal our function, which is the cube root of x squared minus 3x, but in this case it's going to be 3 squared minus 3x, or 3 squared minus 3, I should say. Let me scrub that out there. Alright, so that's going to be 3 times 3. So this is going to come out to 9 minus 9. This is going to be 0. The cube root of 0 is 0. So 0 is going to be our first y value. Our next y value, we're going to work out in a similar way. And that's going to be y1, y sub 1. And that's going to be worked out with the same function, the cube root. This time our x is going to be 3.25. 3.25 squared minus 3 times 3.25. Bang all that into the calculator, and you should get, if you round it off to 4 decimal places, 0.9331. So that'll go in here. The reason I'm going to 4 decimal places is because the question asks for 3 decimal places for the final answer. And so on. Same pattern all along. So we'll do another one. That's y0, y1. It's going to be y2 next. And yeah, so now we're going to figure out y2. And get rid of them little scrubby marks there. So that's the cube root. 3.5 squared minus 3 times 3.5. So bang that all into the calculator. And you should come out with 1.2051 when rounded off to 4 decimal places. So we'll put that in there, 1.2051. Okay. So the rest of them then are done the same way. So we supply the x value into the function. So when you're doing on the calculator, you can just edit the calculation instead of writing it all back in every time, perhaps. And you should get for using 3.75 instead of x, or yeah, 3.75 should produce 1.4116. Next up then we should get a y value here, 1.5874. 4.25 should produce 1.7449. 4.5 should produce 1.8899. So you could have paused this and done these yourself and check them out. We got 2.0257. And finally the last one, y sub 8, 2.1544. You know, just reminds me, to see where it says yn here. Well, for us, yn is going to be, the last one is going to be y8. Right, so we have 0, y0, y1, y2, y3, all the way up to y8. So we can draw little dividers here. Might help to keep things a little bit tidy. And then we're going to use these values according to this formula here. We have b over 3, it'll be easy to calculate that. And then the first part then, our answer is going to be 0.25 over 3. And then we'll open up a square bracket, and y0 is going to be 0, yn is y8, so this is going to be plus 2.1544 plus 4 times the sum of the remaining odd ordinates, so that's going to be 1. So I'll mark it with wee colour there, right? That's y, that's the first odd one, second odd one, third, and the fourth. So inside in this bracket, we're going to add those numbers indicated by the green dots, and we add them 4 together. You could pause now and do it yourself, and then check it out. I get 6.1153. Accurate to 4 decimal places. And next up then we have this plus 2 times the remaining unused values added together. So the remaining values we haven't used so far are these even ones here. So that's y sub 2, y sub 4, and y sub 6. You know, lining up with this formula here, with this bit of the formula here. So in this case we have 3 values to add together, and when we add them together you should get 4.6797. Okay, so this calculation here is equivalent to the integral, and if you put all that through the calculator, you should get, accurate to 3 decimal places, 2.998. And that's the answer. Now you could also run that through Desmos. Let's see if I have it here. Right, that's the function there in red that we're dealing with. Here's one limit here. That's the line x equals 3, so the limit starts there and ends there, x equals 5. And does that correspond to 3 squared units? Well, it does. You know, it does roughly, looking at it. You know, because that would be 2 by 2 would be 4 square units, and we've taken out a big chunk here, approximately equivalent to 1 square unit. So there's approximately 3 square units there. So back to our calculation. Yeah, and that's our answer then. Seems like a reasonable answer. 2.998.